Hey everyone, we are
Hi.
here.
Here we are.
Industry update time.
It
And so,
is.
yes, we're excited to share some stuff with you all today. How's everybody doing? Hey, Anne, nice to see you. Well, nice to see your little circle.
A
And
little
Shelly Brown.
Shelly Brown. We get to
She's
see Shelly
probably
Brown.
joining us on her elliptical trainer.
I'm sure she is. How's that working for you, Shelly?
Uh-huh.
Oh my. We
Oh
get to
my.
see Shelly in 3 days.
Yay!
Super
I
fun.
was really last night, I'm like, are we going to even get to go to Florida?
I had kind of resoluted that we weren't, honestly.
Yeah. Well,
So
praise the Lord. Yes, yes. I saw some, I can't remember what it was, but Shelly, it was some meme of somebody on a treadmill or elliptical trainer and making a joke out of it. And who did I think of? But Miss Shelly Belly.
so fun. All right. Okay, so today I just did Athena's favorite transition.
So,
So um so we're going to talk today about social media. And I found an article. It was interesting because I was thinking of talking about a certain topic and I emailed it to or texted Athena last night. And she was like, wait, I was looking at that too. So it must be meant to be.
yep.
But we are going to talk a little bit about just social media in general. And the different platforms that are out there. So this is really an overview, and it's an overview. I found a blog that an author wrote. So it's basically an overview from her blog about the different platforms that are available in 2024 and what ones she feels are the most effective for authors. So we're going to do a quick overview, and I'll go through each one, Athena, and then if you want to add anything to it from your experience, that would be fantastic. You can be the color commentator and I'll
Ooh.
be the instructional play-by-play.
All right.
All right. So here we go. The first one is Twitter. And the one thing that she said
There's my
is,
color.
well, she agrees with you. Consider stepping away. There is poor engagement for non-paying users.
Oh.
Twitter's stagnation in the industry makes it less effective for book sales. So publishers should stop focusing on the Twitter.
So X, right?
So X, yeah. Well, X Twitter. Yeah, they're both.
Okay.
She called it both.
She's talking about X.
Yes, X.
Okay.
Sorry, X.
Right.
X.
Very good.
Elon Musk. Just
right.
say no. Okay.
Okay.
So don't focus on Twitter.
Just say no.
All right. The next one is Facebook. And I was very pleased for what she had to say because it's what Shelly and I have been saying every single time we talk to people that are asking about how they can leverage Facebook. And the very first thing she talked about is effective use requires active participation in Facebook groups.
Ooh.
That is why we leverage Facebook groups. And then she said, this is what I say all the time: avoid creating book specific or author fan pages without a major commitment of followers.
There you go. But you can do a group and build.
Yes.
You don't have to start with a whole bunch of followers to start a group and actually start getting traction.
And a group can have as many people as you want to in it. So you're not limited by 5,000.
Right.
The thing, though, that I learned about Facebook is that and you probably already know this, I learned it a while ago. If someone friends you on Facebook or asks you to accept their friend request and you decline it, they automatically become a follower.
Which is I did not know that.
Because there are people that friend you on Facebook that I don't want
to
be a follower. So just so you know, so you'll need to be aware of that. The other thing she said about Facebook, and Shelly could probably speak better into this, but she says that if you do want to use advertising, that Facebook is kind of a low risk experimentation where you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a little advertising. Depending on what you want to advertise, as believers, it's not really the greatest platform for that. Shelley, you can speak into that if you want to in the chat. It'd be fantastic. We'll read your amazing insight. Or come on in to StreamYard. You can come and talk about it if you want to.
Well, and I think the main thing for Christians is you can't pick a Christian audience as there's no way to pick Christians. I want this to go to Christian women or whatever.
Right. Well, and she also said that engaging in groups well before your publication date really will give you those meaningful connections. Isn't that amazing?
Ooh.
So that's what we just want to talk through. So there is a course in Redemption Press University for you to use all of that information and leverage it.
And Shelley, even though you're in your PJs, you could still come in, but we won't shame you into joining us if you don't want to.
I'm in my PJs from my waist down.
Ah,
I just went and changed.
I'm at the store.
I just went and changed before this conversation. Okay. So then we also have Instagram. I love Instagram. I think it's a fun platform. It offers.
Sorry, I just can't get it. I
know.
can't get used to it.
Athena will send you memes on Instagram. That's what we do. Okay, so Instagram offers.
That is what I do. That's the extent of my Instagram.
So it offers diverse content formats, which is what I love because it's very user-friendly when you're trying to format with the grids, stories, reels, carousels. You can go live. It has lots of different features that you can use within them. So I really do like the creative place that Amazon gives you.
Amazon,
Instagram, whatever. Instagram. You do have the capability to build your following, but it usually is a very slow process unless you have something that goes viral. But if you just keep pushing at it, eventually you'll grow your platform.
Now, can you do groups on Instagram?
You can. And actually, Erica Wiggenhorn did a group and she invited me to it. She was super engaged in it. And now she's kind of backed off. It's all done through Messenger. So the group you're like part of a message group and then you can post in that. They do say that reels and carousels are recommended for the best engagement and that Instagram can boost your book sales, but it's really based on your genre and certain genres do better than others and just the strategy in general.
So before you go on, let me ask you a question that might help. So for both, because I don't think of social media as a way to sell my books. It's more a way to gain followers that are just interested in what I have to say, what my story is, from seeing things that I post or lives or whatever. So it's really not with that intention of I'm going to actually make sales on this platform. Would that be true for Instagram as well as Facebook? Or could it be that groups are a way to actually have that work as opposed to just your regular presence on social media?
I mean, I would definitely say Facebook groups is where it's at. Instagram can be if you build up your following, because if it didn't work, publishers wouldn't be looking at those numbers, and they are. If you don't have at least 10,000 Instagram followers, you can't. They won't even look at you. And the reason it's 10,000 is because there are certain things that open up for you, like certain widgets or whatever. I don't know what you want to call them. So when you're on Instagram and you see click here on the on your feed, to shop or whatever, you have to have at least 10,000 people to be able to do that. Right. And that's why it doesn't really work. So Anne was saying it doesn't really give you the engagement. It's because we don't have 10,000 people. I don't get really that much engagement either. I like the creativity of it. But there are certain posts that all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I got, 2,500 views on this reel. Like, that's crazy. So every once in a while, you'll get something that'll go a little bit further than most posts. But yeah.
All right. So Shelly said regarding Facebook, targeting on Facebook is limited for anything faith-based. It still works, but you have to, number one, really know what you're doing. And number two, be in it for the long haul to test audiences. And number three, have a daily budget of at least no less than $25 a day. So that's
pretty significant.
$750 a month.
Yeah, for
Something
sure.
like that.
It probably benefits you if you have a bigger following, obviously,
Right.
To start that engagement, I would assume. Okay, so the next one is everyone's favorite, especially Shelly's, because it's based in China, TikTok. TikTok, it really does have a steady growth with books, and we have heard of authors that are using TikTok. Cindy Henson, like, that's how she has sold thousands of books, because her son has over 1 million followers. So that helps with that engagement. So there is this ability to be able to use it to get people to buy your books and build that audience. And but there can also some kind of, like, it's kind of toxic. I just joined it because one of our authors was saying that she was using it for her book. And so I got on it just to see what she was doing. And it's not a really wholesome format or wholesome content. There's a lot, like, your feed just gets a lot of yuck. So I don't really want to spend a lot of time there. LinkedIn, Athena can probably speak to this one. She says it's ideal for thought leaders and nonfiction experts. So actually that's a really good place for you as a believer to hang out, because that's what people are looking for. It's not really suited for a fiction, market. So that's more of your Instagram or TikTok. I think you'd have a little bit more leverage there. And let's see, it showcases your expertise, and it also engages you with a very professional audience. So you have some experience there.
I do, and I've had some great results. In fact, Mary Armstrong, who developed Brave Enough to Change, and she reached out to me just for some marketing help with a curriculum that she had, and we ended up doing a whole her memoir, which gave the backstory of the ministry and the small group trauma-informed Bible study that she created. And then she also did a children's book that deals with, at that age, dealing with your feelings and emotions and being able to communicate about struggles. So we ended up redoing her entire curriculum and adding those 2 books to it. And and we've got some other authors that we're working with on that came from LinkedIn, but they are also thought leaders in their area of expertise. And so they have something to say, and they are well respected for the work that they do. And so it's not like, probably, maybe, well, I was going to say fiction and children's books, but there you could make a case for children's books if they are an area of expertise that you have, bullying, non-bullying, or just different topics that are kind of hot buttons that could work on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think through some of the authors that we've recently signed, and like someone like Bill Goss, who's doing his thing on sports, and the way, like, I think that would be a great market at LinkedIn, where
and that's where he found us, was LinkedIn.
Oh, really? Well, see, there you go. Yeah, his books are so good. So there's LinkedIn. Then we have Threads. So Threads, we've talked about it a little bit. We showed you how to sign up a couple episodes ago. There is really a high engagement with the authentic community vibe in Threads. And you do have to have an Instagram account to sign up. And you'll notice if you have an Instagram or Facebook, because they're all connected, you'll see posts that'll come through that'll have like the little thread symbol, and it's like gives you a little teaser, and you click on it, and that's how they're getting people to really join Threads. but it really is a growing book community, and there is a real potential there. It took off really big, and then it kind of was stagnant, but it's very slowly and steadily growing. And so it could be a great place to focus rather than someplace like an X, Twitter, or even Instagram. If you're not familiar, if you're not comfortable with it, going to Threads would be a good place. So, Athena, why don't you talk a little bit? I have a couple more to talk through if we have time, but why don't you talk a little bit about Substack?
Yes, some people that I really respect have shifted over to Substack, and I didn't really understand what it was, so I had to do a bunch of homework on it. And it is a platform, I want to say, since about 2017 that it's kind of been going, and it really is free speech, no censorship, but you are going on there and you're writing. It's based specifically for writers, and it is an area of discoverability where other people find you, and you can do your newsletters on there without having to like pay a MailChimp or a product like that. You're able to, and there's no fee. But you join Substack, you start writing, once a week. If that's your newsletter, you do once a week. I'm thinking about bringing my newsletter back and maybe starting it up there. But it is also something that you can actually generate and monetize, because people can sign up for your newsletter and actually pay $5 a month or whatever. It's not a huge amount, but they can pledge to help fund you as a writer if they like what you write, or they can subscribe to your newsletter. And it's some interesting, there's kind of two sides to it. I wanted to hear the downside and watched a video of a gal who was on for a year and a half. She loved it and still loves it, but she got to a point where there were some things that she wanted more control over. And so, but I think this is interesting. Substack is great for new writers because you have a chance to find out what the people that you're writing for, what are they wanting? And is what you're writing resonating with them? There is no censorship. So, and you own all the email addresses of people that sign up to get your newsletter, paid or not paid. You own them all. So even if you go somewhere else, you get all the email addresses. It can be monetized. It is a way to have a newsletter for free, so you don't have to pay and usually most of like MailChimp or places like that, you have to have over 1,000 before you start having to pay for it, right?
Because I think, yeah, and I think that Substack eventually, like if you have so many followers, there is a fee that will come, because there are different service levels with Substack. There is a premium.
Right.
So I think that there is an additional, like, depending on how fast your platform's growing and how many people you actually have.
Yeah. But it's got all sorts of, you could put podcasts on there. There's lots of different things that you can do that are really setting you up to be discovered by other people that might be the people that God has you writing for. And also, okay, so I was going to make a point that I already made earlier, so never mind that. It is going to, you're going to learn on Substack to write for your readers and speak to your audience and meet their need. Because if you don't, nobody's going to follow you on there. So that was an interesting thing. But here, what were the downsides? The gal did not like that she couldn't automate, like to be able to do a series of 5 emails that go out to someone who is interested in something that you do, or a course or whatever. You can't personalize. Your newsletter just goes out, dear friends. It doesn't take people's first name. You don't have any control over the look. So if you're artsy and you're real creative and you are, that's a big deal to you, you probably wouldn't like that. And she didn't like the fact that when you monetize, or even if you don't monetize it, behind the scenes because that's how Substack makes their money, at that 10% of whatever people pledge to your newsletter or whatever the paid subscriptions are. That's how they make their money. So in the background, they're pushing people to pledge or to support you, which, is better than you doing. I'd rather have someone else doing that. But this gal just said it was a little too salesy for her. So that was an interesting thing to realize. And let me just share one of my favorite writers. She's also one of our coaches at Redemption Press, Lori Roelveld. I asked her, because she's one of the ones that I've been watching who's been on Substack. Seems like maybe for the last 6 months or so that I've seen her on there. She said, if I was starting over, it is where I would focus all my efforts. That's pretty dramatic. There's discoverability there now. Plus, it's a way to learn if what you're writing is something for which people will pay. The first steps are marketing and awareness, engagement, subscribing, and then purchasing. So it's kind of a step-by-step. Substack is a one-stop platform for all 4 steps. And she said you must have a clear POV, point of view, sharp writing to stand out there. So you can't just go and, just rough draft it and throw stuff out there. It needs to be polished. But because what I saw, a lot of the people who were getting tons of subscribers were either writing on making a 6-figure income, writing for Substack, or, health, lose 100 pounds, like, things like that, which, okay, if you're writing about spiritual things and spiritual growth and things like that, it's just not the same. It's hard. I think it's hard to base your opportunity on those kinds of numbers. But that was my question for her was, is it a good thing for Christians who are wanting to write from that worldview and really wanting to encourage and, challenge and whatever those who are in the church? And she was affirmative on all counts, which I needed to hear that to be able to want to share that with you all, because I don't want you to get the wrong idea that it's going to be some incredible thing if then it's, a challenge to find your market there.
Well, and I think the benefit of Substack, because I actually, as I was doing I watched a few videos on it today just to learn a little bit about it and read some stuff. The benefit, as you said, is that the email addresses are actually yours. And so if you are putting all of this time and effort into Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, it could go away tomorrow and you have nothing.
Right.
Where this way you still have the ownership of who your followers are. That's huge.
Yep. So I really like the different, like, I don't see that on Facebook where, like, they have a whole page where different people's newsletters are showing up with a little teaser, and, you're getting in front of, it's that whole collaboration thing where you're getting in front of other people's readers, and you can, do a shout out and promote other people's newsletters. And so it's definitely a community that specifically for writers that really can, I think, help with discoverability. So
yeah, we'll have to do some research on that and see, maybe try and make an account and see what happens with it. And teach y'all how to do it. So
yep,
Very good. Thanks for checking into that and getting Lori's opinion. That's great because she's someone we can trust for sure.
Absolutely.
One of the things that I found interesting for the social media author platforms in 2024, and we'll close with this one, is her opinion of Goodreads. And Goodreads is something that almost all of us, I'm sure, have an account there. And she was saying that, and I didn't know this, maybe you did. Sorry, that Goodreads is owned by Amazon. Did you know that?
I did.
And it really is. She says that here was her opinion of it. It is plagued with poor design and review bombing issues.
Weird.
She said that there is it's not really significant for book success, and it lacks reliable sales and conversion data. It sometimes, and this is the comparison issue coming in, it can be harmful to your mental health because of how things are promoted and things that, that we put on ourselves with our self-doubt and all the things. And there isn't really a community feel there. And so it's not great for an author's profile.
So
and
just competition.
The competition and just not the connection that even like a Facebook or Instagram or, all those places do. And so just to be very cautious of how much effort you're putting there, because it really isn't necessarily selling the books. There are way better platforms like a Substack to promote yourself on. So, yeah.
Wow, that's good. I learned something new because I remember just editing something that said, set up your author page on Amazon and on Goodreads. So I would delete that.
Yeah, I mean, I think all of us have Goodreads. It's just something that, you get it, but I don't know very many people that work it.
Spend a lot of time there. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's something you can consider. So, well, there's lots of other weird platforms out there like Blue Sky and Mastodome, and they're more like a Twitter X kind of feel to them. But one of the things you can look for, I learned this today as I was doing this research, is the difference between a decentralized and a centralized social media platform. So a centralized social media platform means that it is owned typically by one person or one organization, where a decentralized means that it's owned by thousands of independent servers. And typically those ones have a lot more ability for your reach. For example, Blue Sky, I think it is kind of like is it Blue Sky? No, Mastodon, I think it's called. They actually don't really have an algorithm. They just show whatever's there. And the problem is if you haven't signed up for something, so if you're not following someone or following a hashtag, like your feed is going to be very basic because it only shows you what you want to see, which can be good. Right.
Which is Substack is the same because it's anybody can say anything. They don't do the algorithm thing. It's just based on what you sign up, you want to see. That's what you're going to see.
I like that actually. So, and I think that's where that decentralized, it's not really owned by someone, it's owned by the people. And that's why it's not so focused on getting those posts out for everyone to see that are just like follow me kind of thing.
Right.
Anyways. Yeah. So there we are.
Yeah.
That's your industry author platform update in 2024. And perhaps we will figure out what Substack's all about.
And go into 2025 with a plan.
There you go. That'd be good. Plans, schmans. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. Good to see you, Anne and Shelley. Glad you were here with us. And
yes.
we will talk to y'all soon.
All right. Bye for now.